Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Deadline Day. 9 p.m. this evening, bids will be in for Chelsea Football Club to buy it. Is that English? You know what I'm saying. The Raine Group, who are handling the sale of Chelsea Football Club, have put a deadline of 9 p.m. UK time for the sale of Chelsea Football Club. So we will be following that throughout the day. Updates, of course, we'll probably get more information leaking out from them, from, several reporters. People like Matt Law seem to be on top of the story, and we will learn about that, and I'll update you accordingly here on Football Therapy. But we're talking about a multitude of other things today. Settle in, get comfortable, and please do consider subscribing if you're yet to do so. And if you choose to do so, make sure that bell is turned on and you drop a like. Hey, just checking the switch is working, because before it wasn't working. Anyway, come on, let's get into it. Settle down. We're going to talk about Thomas Tuchel's comments in his pre-match press conference, Champions League, as well as maybe some call-ups. Of course, let's start up with the England call-up. Of course, Chelsea are full of loads of internationals. But interestingly, I'm an Englishman. I want to talk about the England calls-up. No surprise, Mason Mount. And then kind of no surprise, Reece James. But he's been out injured. I'm not sure whether he's going to feature in the game against Borough. Surely you'd think, why would he need to? But then again, there's going to be a rest afterwards. And actually, Middlesbrough have beaten Premier League teams in the FA Cup and knocked them out. So you might be thinking, this is a potential banana skin, especially after Chelsea's request for the game to be played behind closed doors, which, by the way, is an absolute howler for Chelsea. Why make the Borough fans suffer? That was a real... They withdrew that request as well, because the Chelsea Supporters Trust asked them to withdraw. Anyway, because of all the noise around that game, it feels a bit banana skinny, like waiting to happen. So maybe just do what you can to get through it, and maybe that's starting Reece James, so you can understand why he's probably as well been called up for the England team. And interestingly, Conor Gallagher, deservedly, putting in excellent performances in the Premier League against top-tier opposition, covering an immense amount of ground to the point where you think, him and Kante in the midfield, imagine the ground they would cover. He'd make us like a super team, a cheat code maybe. I would be very upset if Chelsea don't include Conor Gallagher in the first team next season. There are some Palace fans thinking and hoping that he might be sold to Crystal Palace, and that concerns me. We're going to talk about what Thomas Tuchel said in a moment, but let's talk about our Champions League draw. Real Madrid run it back. Insert picture of Mason Mount celebrating with Sergio Ramos on his knees, looking crestfallen. Mount scored. Werner scored. Did Pulisic score? Or was it him? Yeah, and maybe over both legs they were the free scorers. Anyway, run it back. Yes, Real Madrid. I will stop saying it like that. Are better than last season, and they'll. Yes, I was going to say something unkind about Eden Hazard, but that would literally be like breaking my own heart to say it. Look, they'll be better this season than they were last season. I don't care. I think it's a great draw. I'm buzzing. It's a knockout round. It's the next knockout round of the Champions League. It's a quarter-final. We had Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Man City, and it looks like if we beat Real Madrid, we're probably going to be facing Man City. They will, because they themselves are playing Atletico Madrid, and they will probably almost certainly get past them. They're not Man United. They're a lot better. So they will score goals against them, and they will probably, almost certainly, qualify for the next round. So Chelsea beating Real Madrid and Man City in consecutive Champions League knockout rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, sound familiar to you? Oh yes, insert picture of Thomas Tuchel and Thiago Silva with a Champions League trophy. Look, I'm being a little bit, I jest a little bit. Of course, you'd argue both those ties would be a lot harder this time round. Because, of course, Man City have beaten us twice in the Premier League. Twice in the Premier League this season. Both 1-0, I believe. We beat them 3 times in a row last season and then lost twice. I think Tuchel will learn from that. And also, in cup competitions, I think Man City are different. But yeah, you make a very strong case for both Man City and Real Madrid being much more difficult than last season. But who cares, man? We're current reigning champions of Europe. I feel like there's less pressure. Just enjoy it. It's a great draw. It's high tier opposition. The team's spirit's, maxed out at the moment. Even if we're not playing to our top ability, the togetherness is right up there. And that's what you need in cup competitions. Bring them on. I say, Thomas Tuchel, of course, commented on this in his, in his press conference. I believe I'm going to use Nazar Kinsella's thread on Twitter of goal.com. He said it's a tough one, it's a tough challenge, and he spoke about, the second leg being away in the Santiago Bernabeu as well, of course, is super tricky. He probably would have preferred away at Real Madrid first and then returning to Stamford Bridge. Of course, we still don't know if we can have fans in the stadium. If we have to play a game behind closed doors at Stamford Bridge and then go to a full Bernabeu in the second leg, problems. At least in that instance, you could probably say the no away goal rule would probably suit us in that instance. Anyway, I'm not going to go on for too much longer, any longer on the Champions League. I'm quite excited for the draw. It's a tough draw, but we didn't get Man City, and then if we beat Man City, Liverpool. We got, Real Madrid, and then probably Man City if we go through. And I think that's a nice progression, And then there's a final, and in that final, it would be Liverpool or Bayern. So it's going to be real tough, but this is the Champions League. This is what it's all about. The pressure is not on us to win it. We've won it again recently with the current holders. There's the pressure for the holders to do well in the competition, but I think we have done well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So let's move on. Talk in terms of injuries. Reece James is a possibility, but then of course there's also Andreas Christensen and Callum Hudson-Odoi, and of course it's no point mentioning Ben Chilwell because he's not going to feature this season. So really the injury list isn't that bad. Now I wanted to talk about these Manchester United links, because they were frustrating me to the point where I was tweeting out one of my favourite podcasts because they were like, oh yeah, Man United have to go for Tuchel. And I'm not talking about Jamie Carragher, I'm talking about guys that usually, it's a football ramble, guys that are usually really measured, and they were like, yeah, Tuchel, United, if they don't go for Tuchel, they're idiotic and whatever, this, that and the other. And I get it, I understand why people say it and why they have to say it. Man United are a massive institution, biggest club in England. They've been crap for so long. We've got an amazing coach. We're under, pressure with sanctions, and who knows what's going to happen to Chelsea. A business would have to look at Tuchel. I understand why they say it, but what they fail to say is actually, no, Tuchel didn't win the Champions League for Chelsea. He did in many ways, but he won the Champions League with Chelsea. They were a perfect fit. They did it together as a union, and that's not being spoken about. They're like, Thomas Tuchel's a blessing. He's been an amazing, politician for the club, and we rightly adore him. But he always, and I'm about to read you a quote here that continues this subject or whatever. He's always talked about how good Chelsea have been to him, and that's what these people who are referencing Tuchel to United are forgetting. That Chelsea have offered him the environment and landscape and platform to do his best work and win the Champions League. Everyone's out saying oh yeah, Chelsea are lucky to have him, which we are, but it's a one-way thing. It's not a one-way thing, it's a two-way thing. And it's a two-way thing because he's always saying it as well. He's always talking about that. So he was asked about the links with Manchester United, and his link to the Manchester United job, and he looked like deadpan. He'd clearly have heard of this, and they were like, what's your reaction? And he said, no reaction. And then he said this: do you feel me less committed to the club in my situation? Absolutely not. I love to be here, and I love to work for Chelsea. It has given me everything I need to make me happy. He's always talking about the support from Chelsea Football Club. He's always talking about, the communication. He's always talking about how he's just allowed to be a football coach. This is what reports are suggesting, that he's just, he can just do what he wants to do, coaching the football. He's not dealing with politics. He's not raging against a board. In fact, it's harmonious. And this is peculiar, because everyone thought with Tuchel's record at PSG and Dortmund, whatever reason he fell out with both those clubs, and of course Chelsea's record with managers that are quite characteristic or like got, you know, a lot of charisma. It's always been explosive and often imposed. People were like, this isn't going to work. But it's worked. It's been harmonious and it's been perfect. And he's maintained that since day one. So the links to Man United aren't disrespectful, but I feel like, because I understand why journalists and media people do it, but people are, it's this massive oversight of, he's not just this, you know, guy who Chelsea are only lucky to have. Yes, but they're lucky to have each other, and people are missing that, and that's really frustrated me. So Tuchel's absolutely deadpan, said like, no mate, I love it here, why would I leave? And he was asked about the new owners as well. And essentially, what he said regarding the new owners is like, look, I'm an employee, like, let's cross the bridge when it happened. And they were like, yeah, cool. We're not saying about requirements, but in your opinion, what do you want from the owners? And he was like, well, them liking to win would be nice. I'm paraphrasing. He's basically just saying, look, I want them to want to win. He's constantly been talking lately about Chelsea's winning culture, winning mentality, the DNA, which is true. And it is true. Chelsea always win, from the academy to the women's team to the first team. Throughout the Roman era, in times of chaos, in times of, you know, things going wrong, we always win. It's in the culture. Thomas Tuchel, as an intelligent man, has clearly picked up on this. You know, look at the trophies he won: finish mid-table 10th, win the Premier League, you know, winning this Champions League in a pandemic, and underdogs or whatever, all that kind of stuff. He's probably noticed in bad seasons we still get to finals. He's like, wow, Chelsea are a winning machine. And you compare that to his previous employer in Paris Saint-Germain. Buys every single superstar, and they've got literally the opposite. I mean, they win Ligue 1 because they just have to. I think 40% of the entire league's wages go to Paris Saint-Germain. That's like 1 out of 20 teams, 40% of the wages go to them. And it's not that strong a league. I'm not going to disrespect it too much, but when they come in the Champions League, they always fall short in these big games. Because they don't, and I know this is like an intangible, but it's real. A winning DNA, a cultural thing. Thomas Tuchel has picked up on that, and he's talking about that, and he doesn't want to lose that, and he wants that to be transferred to the new ownership. Like, you want to win, put your money, sort of money where your mouth is, but put your intentions where your mouth is. And look, we got the culture, baby. We want to win, and you know what, man? We have been winning. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that. In terms of the game, I'm not going to do like a preview. I think it's going to be a relatively strong Chelsea side in the FA Cup. I think Thomas Tuchel recognises how this, like I've said, how this could be a potential banana skin. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. And thank you for everyone who's been interacting, like liking and subscribing and stuff. Daily videos, of course. And if any news breaks today with the ownership, I'll upload as quickly as possible. So make sure you turn on the bell when you subscribe. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.